Back with Alden Chodash of AldenBoxing.com. This past weekend on HBO, Alden, it was Alexander Povetkin getting a shot at Vladimir Klitschko with a victory over Eddie Chambers. Anything surprise you from the Povetkin-Chambers fight?
Only one thing. It was Chambers' lack of determination and heart, as was frequently criticized in his corner. Buddy McGirt and his own father, Eddie Chambers Sr., for his lack of effort. If he doesn't hear enough of it from the press and from the boxing fans after his poor performance against Alexander Povetkin, he definitely heard it in his own corner, and that still didn't help him out. Round after round after round, they were telling him he had to put this guy out. He has to come forward, put his combination together. He wouldn't do anything. He would sit there speechless and go out and fight another round on the defensive. He's very similar to Dominic Gwynn. Very similar, and who knows, this kind of loss could be very similar in the career path of Dominic Gwynn. Eddie Chambers, an impressive young heavyweight, loses to another good heavyweight and goes on the downhill from there. I hope it doesn't turn out like that for Chambers. He showed to be a very skilled fighter with good all-around qualities, but this is the kind of loss that humbles you and saps your confidence. He's a good fighter, but definitely lacks the drive and determination, and I'd like to see him move back down to cruiserweight if he was ever down there.
You think he's a major player in cruiserweight?
Yeah, he definitely has the physical attributes to be a cruiserweight. He has the build of a tall cruiserweight, just his soft belly makes him a heavyweight. But he has exceptional speed and power for a cruiserweight, but I just can't see him making it down there.
What about Povetkin? Were you pleased with his performance?
Yeah, he's exceptional for a heavyweight just because of his work rate. It's going to do him pretty well in the upper level of the division. Just remember, he's 15 fights into his career, and I gave him a shot with many heavyweights. I think he could beat possibly two heavyweight title holders, Ruslan Shagayev and Oleg Moskaev. 15 fights in his career, so that's quite an attribute, but I don't give him much of a shot against Vladimir Klitschko.
Which was my next question.
Sam Peter.
Sam Peter and Klitschko a little bit out of his league?
Yeah, I think so. He has an exceptional work rate, but however, he's not a great tactical fighter, and I think Peter will overpower him, and Klitschko will just outbox him.
Okay, let's move on. It's Super Bowl weekend coming up, and on Friday, ESPN, a featherweight scrap. Monty Mesa Clay, 26-1, and 6 in a row after getting beat by Edna Cherry. It's Mesa Clay facing Eric Aiken, who's been struggling of late. Who do you like in that fight?
What I've seen from Mesa Clay, he's a steadily improving prospect. He's confident. He's built up a nice string of victories since his confidence-sapping, or supposedly confidence-sapping, loss to Edna Cherry. And Eric Aiken is a very strong fighter. He's a former world champion, and I think that'd be a nice win on Mesa Clay's resume, because I think Aiken's more of a game loser and more of a stepping stone and a gatekeeper to the kind of guys on Mesa Clay's resume, but it's an interesting matchup, and I favor Mesa Clay. Okay,
two lefties going at it this weekend. Gorres, Vic Darchinyan. You like Vic to win that one?
I'll lean towards Vic. It's a very even matchup. I think his punching power should make the difference. Gorres has not been in there with a fighter anywhere close to the punching power of Vic Darchinyan, but nevertheless, Gorres is a very skilled tactical boxer, and he almost lifted the title of the experienced Fernando Montiel about a year ago. So tactically, he has the stuff to beat Vic. It's the question that strikes a lot of top flyweights, if they could stand up to Vic's power. And I'll have to lean towards Vic because Gorres hasn't done anything to show that he could take a great shot. He's relatively inexperienced against fighters like Darchinyan, who are massive punchers, but I wouldn't count him out completely.
Okay, what about Amir Khan taking on veteran Gary St. Clair? St. Clair actually 10 years ago won some rounds against Diego Corrales. Do you think Amir Khan is up to the task?
Yeah, definitely he's up to the task. If anything, it's a step down. He's He's coming off a first-round knockout victory over Graham Earl, who put down Michael Katsidis in their fight and gave him a competitive fight before he was stopped. Gary St. Clair is just a stepping stone, a gatekeeper, just a tough veteran. He should last the distance with Khan if Khan's explosive power doesn't get the job done. But Khan is going to get some good experience out of this as he gets out of many fights he's having. He's not being rushed. His managers are picking out very good opponents, guys that could extend him the distance, give him some problems, but guys that are beatable. And I think Khan should be ready for a title shot, possibly in the end of this year.
Okay, since our last show, a couple of major fights were announced. Kermit Cintron and Antonio Margarito II, which will be on the undercard of the Cotto fight. Who do you like? Do you think Cintron can turn the tables?
No, I really think Cintron's an improved fighter, but I don't think he's as massively improved as some believe he is, coming off his first loss to Antonio Margarito and coming off a couple of important victories and a title-winning effort over Mark Suarez. Cintron still is vulnerable defensively, and he's learned how to utilize his offensive talents in a much better way since his first fight. Margarito is also a much more confident fighter, but I think all of his confidence will be sapped once Margarito starts to get to work and pound him. I think Cintron wins more rounds. I think he goes a longer distance against Margarito, maybe the full 12, but I don't see him beating Margarito.
Okay, and Antonio Tarver is facing Clinton Woods on the card that also displays Chad Dawson, Glenn Johnson matchup. Tarver, Woods, who do you like?
I'm going to pick Tarver just based on his experience and natural talent, but Woods definitely has the stuff to beat him, especially at this point of his career. Tarver is coming off a couple unspirited performances, almost lost his fight with Elver Marigi, according to one judge who scored the fight even. Tarver is coming off unspirited performances. You don't know what he's going to show up against Clinton Woods in this fight like. He has the skill to beat Woods. He would have definitely beaten Woods at his best. I think Tarver is going to come in with a performance spirited enough to hold off Woods for the amount of rounds required to beat him. But Woods is a tough guy, and he'll fight every minute of every round, and he's gradually improving, and also has a victory over Glenn Johnson. His last loss was, I believe, to Roy Jones in 2002. I'm not sure, but he's built up quite a string of victories, and he's very confident. Fights a hard 3 minutes of every round, and I'm not sure if Tarver's up to that at this stage in his career, but I think he'll come in with just enough energy to withhold Clinton Woods' offensive rushes. Okay,
great. And finally, who do you like, Patriots or the Giants?
I like Patriots. More skilled all-around team.
Should they stop it after the halftime show?
No, Giants should give them a good one.
Okay. Thanks for talking to us, Alden. Remember to check out aldenboxing.com and fightfan.com for more information. See you next week.